National alert. Anti-Trump billionaire surrenders and declares Donald J. Trump as the next great president in U.S. history. The unexpected shift that shakes the globalist elite. Is this the end of the resistance against Trump? Welcome to Political Truth, your source of uncensored realities. Subscribe so you don't miss our exclusives, comment with your opinions, and share so the world can finally see what's happening. The news that has shaken the foundations of power and influence in the United States has left both allies and enemies utterly speechless. The public and unfiltered conversion of one of the most outspoken critics of Donald J. Trump, none other than billionaire Ken Langone, co-founder of Home Depot. This business titan, who once stood as one of the most prominent Republican voices against the former president, has now not only pledged his support for Trump's second term, but has done so with an unshakable conviction that reverberates through the corridors of Washington. "I'm sold," Langone bluntly stated in a live interview with CNBC, a declaration that has marked a definitive before and after in the national narrative. His dramatic shift is more than a simple political turn. It is an ideological U-turn that lays bare the hypocrisy of many who previously demonized Trump for his disruptive policies and his unflinching America First doctrine. Langone's statements go beyond mere support. They represent a bold prediction. In fact, I'll tell you this. I think he's got a good shot at going down in history as one of our greatest presidents. This from a man who once described Trump's post-election rhetoric, especially after the January 6th Capitol riots, as a betrayal of the nation. Langone's current stance is a powerful testament to the undeniable impact of Trump's recent actions on the political and economic landscape of the United States. This unwavering support from someone as influential as Langone starkly contrasts with the position he held just months ago. His ideological metamorphosis has puzzled analysts across the country. While he initially backed Trump in the 2016 Republican primaries, Langone became one of his harshest critics following January 6th, accusing Trump of crossing the line with his inflammatory language. Despite continuing to donate to Republican causes, Langone's skepticism toward Trump's leadership, particularly regarding economic policies, was both vocal and widely publicized. As recently as April, Langone openly criticized Trump's aggressive trade tactics, dismissing his proposed tariffs of 46% on Vietnam and 34% on China as lies, and warning that such measures would trigger inflation and harm the average American consumer. At the time, he urged Trump to lower the general tariff rate to 10% and to seek direct negotiations instead. Now, that position has reversed entirely. So, what changed? Why have key figures like Langone, along with other prominent American entrepreneurs, completely transformed their stance on Donald J. Trump? According to Langone, the answer is simple, but deeply resonant. "I'll tell you the reason. I'm a believer," he declared in the interview, revealing something akin to a religious faith in Trump's comeback. What Langone claims to see is something truly wonderful, a new rhythm that has inspired the people, making them walk with more energy and purpose. This perceived national revival aligns with Trump's surprising economic performance, which, defying all forecasts and globalist predictions, has continued to exceed expectations. Experts such as Harvard political scientist Dr. Arthur Davidson note that the sense of economic stability and renewed dynamism has been a major factor in shifting the opinion of many business leaders who now prioritize prosperity over partisan ideology. Trump's composure and leadership during high-pressure moments have also played a crucial role in winning back the respect of his former critics. Langone, for example, praised Trump's calm demeanor following a recent crisis, saying it allowed him to secure a very significant place in history. But perhaps the most revealing moment came when Langone responded to Trump's bold foreign policy decision just weeks earlier. On June 21st, Trump ordered a massive aerial campaign targeting Iran's nuclear facilities in Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, using bunker-busting bombs and Tomahawk missiles. The attack was coordinated with Israel's broader military operations in the region. Though risky and potentially escalating tensions in the Middle East, the move resulted in measured strategic gains. Critics were silenced, and even former skeptics like Langone had to admit Trump's decisiveness was not only necessary, but admirable. Langone recounted a conversation with one of the U.S. pilots involved in the historic Iran mission. "One of the pilots from that miraculous trip to Iran, where we annihilated, whatever it was we annihilated, told me, 'You're the only president who would have had the guts to do what you did.'" Langone's response? "You know what? He's probably right." This rare display of humility from a man known for his bluntness speaks volumes. Trump's effectiveness and boldness appear to have cut through years of ideological resistance. When CNBC's Joe Kernan reminded Langone of his former opposition to Trump in what was once a binary choice, the billionaire remained unfazed. "Knowledge requires one thing," Langone said. "When you make a mistake, admit it." He concluded with a statement that may echo across the 2024 election cycle. "I think this guy's becoming president." Trump's second term has been defined by controversial but impactful policies. His hardline stance on immigration has led to mass deportations, while his aggressive tariff policies have slapped countries like Canada, Mexico, Brazil, the European Union, and China with taxes ranging from 30% to over 50%. Though some elites like Elon Musk and Bill Ackman have warned of potential economic backlash, Langone now sees it differently. To him, Trump is a president who finally acts with courage and clarity, prioritizing internal prosperity over the globalist doctrines that, in Langone's view, have long failed America's working class. But this ideological shift is not limited to the billionaire class. Support for Trump is rising even among segments of the population that once rejected him entirely. Contrary to the progressive media's narrative, Trump's immigration and tariff policies are now resonating with young people and minority communities, especially among Black and Latino voters, who feel increasingly abandoned by the elites and disillusioned with empty promises from traditional political structures. The promise of America First and the return of domestic manufacturing jobs are finding fertile ground in communities that were previously skeptical of Trump. The image of a president willing to fight for American jobs, even at the cost of international approval, has begun to reshape perceptions. The result? A visible shift in the polls and growing enthusiasm among demographics that once seemed unreachable. For someone once labeled as a reluctant Trump voter, Ken Langone's endorsement could become one of the most significant moments of elite support for Trump's leadership to date. It's a loud and clear signal. The tide is turning. The billionaire class, once wary of Trump's populist fire, is watching closely, and in some cases, re-evaluating their own stances. Langone's transformation encapsulates a broader awakening among American power brokers. "I'm convinced about Trump," he declared, not as a cautious investor, but as a passionate believer. This isn't just an opinion, it's a political earthquake, one that promises to reshape the 2024 electoral landscape and redefine the future of the United States. It is the awakening of a nation that seeks bold leadership, one unshackled from globalist agendas and elitist illusions. A people tired of promises, hungry for action. From the perspective of major U.S. media outlets and prominent political scientists and statesmen, the surprising statement by Ken Langone, who went from being a staunch critic of Donald Trump to openly declaring himself a believer in his leadership, has sparked a deep debate within the American political and media ecosystem. Outlets like the New York Times and the Washington Post have approached the news with skepticism, describing Langone's conversion as more of a strategic move than a genuine ideological shift. Progressive columnists argue that this type of support from financial magnates reflects a concern for the stability of their investments and the continuity of an economic model favorable to large corporations, rather than a true change in values. From this angle, the support for Trump is interpreted as a pragmatic validation of his pro-business fiscal and deregulatory policies. Meanwhile, outlets like Fox News and Newsmax have celebrated Langone's statement as a symbolic victory that confirms Trump's triumphant return to the heart of the economic elite, reinforcing the idea that even his former adversaries are now recognizing his positive impact on the economy and geopolitics. In these circles, it is emphasized that Langone not only retracts his past criticism, but also predicts that Trump could go down in history as one of the greatest presidents of the United States, a stance that is seen as a tectonic shift in public perception. Political scientists like Dr. Richard Hanley of Yale and Professor Laura Thompson of Georgetown agree that this declaration represents a narrative breaking point that could influence undecided or moderate business leaders. However, they caution that it is still unclear whether this will have a real impact on the general electorate, especially among younger and more progressive sectors. In conclusion, the news has been received in a divided manner. For some, it's a timely surrender to Trump's effectiveness. For others, it's a symptom that the old economic guard fears losing relevance in the face of the new conservative order. From Political Truth, we tell you this: reality is relentless. And the era of hidden agendas? It's over.